want to make. So those essentially were the 4 questions that I came up with. I think they're still using them. And I did it from the back of an envelope. So I go, and sure enough, there's Pat. What was her last name, honey? Father George's secretary. Pat Holmes? No.
That's Pat.
Yeah, he's the tutor right now.
Melanie.
No, that's Melanie, Father Hesburgh's.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever her name is,
Yeah.
Pat something or other. Pat Roth.
Yeah.
Pat calls me up at about 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And he never came in before 11. Never.
Yeah.
And he said, Father's here right now. Mike, why don't you come up here? I think he wants to see you. I said, well, what's the problem? Is there anything wrong? He says, I really don't know, but you should come up right away.
Yeah.
So I go up there with that when I found out, I said, tell him that I'll be up there in about a half an hour. I came here first to tell Polly that I may be fired. I go back. I walk into his office. His glasses. He used to have
Half glass.
those glasses. They look like moon shape. You've
Yeah.
seen them.
Yeah.
And he's like this at his desk. I walk in and I said, "Holy shit!" I said, "Father, you don't even have to open up your mouth. I know exactly what you," because I guessed that he put that damn
list pile.
His name on the top of the pile because he's the guy I told him that nothing to worry about.
He's doing fine.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I had already sent a message out to Alan Page to get his Fanny into my office immediately.
Yeah.
No excuse accepted.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I'll be talking to Alan within the hour, and I'll find out more about what the heck is going on. And sure enough, they played Wisconsin the very first game, and they had to leave, and they played Wisconsin there. And he couldn't make the exam on that Friday, and he was told that if he didn't take the exam, he'd get an F until he made up the work.
Right.
So he got the F.
Yeah.
The other 2, I don't know what they were for because he didn't do something or turned in something, whatever it was, and claimed that, and he still claimed after I saw him that he'd get a dean's list because the kid was actually a bright guy.
Yeah.
When he came, he was one of those, what do you call those students in high school? They're, what is it, when they get an academic, what the hell is it?
National Merit?
National Merit Scholar.
Yeah.
And he was a finalist on the national, so he's not some dumb kid,
Right.
And as a result, so I went through and I said, and by the way, this is my plan for the future. And I told him what I wanted him to authorize at least 3 more payrolls of kids who would review these forms that I was going to send out to the teachers and hopefully get back telling me what the kids are doing or not doing. And he bought it. Okayed the thing because he agreed that that's the best way of attacking it. Don't ask the student, you ask the teachers. So that's how it all started. So every so often I have these panics. After a year or so, I knew what the hell to do.
Yeah.
But up until that time, I didn't know. I believed them.
Yeah.
You can't believe them. They lie because they know they can get it done 4 months later or 3 months later,
So Alan Page turned out okay, though.
Oh, yes. So much so that he came back after he graduated, was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, came into my office one day during the off season and wanted me to write a letter of recommendation for him so that he can petition his team to allow him to go and take law courses during the off season, and that he would do well in it because he's a good student. And I did. I was happy to do it. And he came in with 2 other black students. Why they were black, other than the fact that they were drafted at the same time. The 2 kids from Michigan State and Allen were drafted that same weekend. So, again, what possessed me, I don't know. But I did say to the kids, I said, Allen is going to be going into law. Are you guys planning anything, to do it during the off season? One of them kids said, Mr. Chico, we didn't even get our degree yet. You didn't get your degree. You played for 4 years.
Yeah.
Why haven't you gotten your degree? And then they explained it, that they went in to get tickets for their parents to attend graduation. They went to the coaches, and the coaches said, we don't give out those passes. You got to go to the chairman of the department. They go to the chairman of their department. I don't remember which. I didn't ask, and I could care less about it anyway. And the people in their departments told them, one was equivalent of a second semester sophomore. The other one was a first semester junior, which meant that they had to go to class for a year or 2 before they could finish up the requirement. I said, but I would still do it.
Yeah.
And they said, well, it's not going to be easy for us because I would have to take these courses at Michigan State. I think they were thinking in terms of they had a better shot of getting a passing grade than taking it. See, Alan Page didn't care where the hell he studied. He's just smart enough.
Yeah.
So there it is. And right after that, I don't know if you remember, Sports Illustrated started attacking the student athletes and the black athletes in particular, how they were being used by most schools as athletes, and then they would just dump them either while they're going to school or at the end. They would still never have their degrees. And that was what Father Joyce and Father Hesburgh, why they started the academic advising. They wanted to make sure that they would constantly be working toward their degree, and hopefully after 4 to 5 years have their degree and make them feel good and make me feel good too. In fact, I'm like, Polly was right. Every time we see, and most who was that tight end, Paul, that came in? Really, still looks like he can play football.
Ross Browner?
Oh, Ross Browner, yeah. Ross Browner came to this thing the other night and stopped me. He said, Coach, if it wasn't for you forcing me to go to school, I would never have gotten my degree.
And then his wife said, and I want to thank you too for making sure.
Yeah, she was cute. That's a good girl. But he's so. I said, Ross, you still have a year of eligibility. I'd like to put you in as the other tight end. We've got one good tight end, and the other one took off to go to Florida. You can take over right now. He said, I couldn't do it. Well, I don't know about that. He looked good, and there were several of them.
Oh yeah.
That said essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
That the degree was the principal reason why they were all for the academic advising, and I'm happy they think that way. A lot of them have sons and daughters that are going to school now yet.
Well, you did an amazing job. I mean, it's unbelievable what you've done and how many lives you've changed.
Pat,
so you're doing that now too.
Yeah, but I had an incident where when I first went to high school teaching, I had our star basketball player in class.
Yes.
And he was failing my French class.
Yes.
And both the principal and the athletic director for our school district showed up at my classroom door, and they pulled me out in the hallway and they asked me to change his grade.
Why?
And I lost to make him eligible because you
can't do that.
And at that point, I lost it in the hallway. And I said, who? I looked at the athletic director and I said, "Who are you?
The hell
were you the kid that sat
the
the bench? I'm the kid that actually competed, and I had someone, holding me responsible for my grades because that in the end is what's going to create your life, not the
yes,
the athletics
absolutely.
is the nice to
I'm
have.
glad you took this.
And you're not doing him any favors. You know, what are you teaching him in college? They're not going to be able to.
That's it.
Not do the academics and to continue to compete. And even if they're the absolute best one, number one, no one wants a dumb athlete.
Absolutely.
Number two, it's a chance for them to get an education and make a life for themselves. And you're not helping them, and I will not do it.
Well, the author of one of the reporters of the Detroit Press, I'll never forget that as long as I live. When after this article appeared in Sports Illustrated, he called me up because it mentioned our name and my name and Notre Dame and did this and did that. And he called. He said, "This, well, how are these black?" I think he called it by the
don't have to say it.
The N word.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, these kids are not going to school to a degree doesn't mean a thing to them. I said, well, where does it say? That it doesn't mean anything to them, or whether they some kind of a breed of animal or person that doesn't understand what a degree means.
Yeah.
I said this. I was so upset that if I'd had the opportunity, I'd fire the son of a bitch. I wouldn't care what he wrote, or he could have been a noted writer. I could care less. Imagine somebody asking me that. Well, that's why I'm proud of you, Ann.
It was a defining moment. My principal just threw up his hands and he said, "What am I going to do with you?" And I said, "Learn to grow up and do your job well." So he walked away.
Not my problem.